We are officially on the other side of the Tartiflette Games Season 1, and boy, does it feel good. We're talking all about the Invitational this week. In the main topic, it's Après STEEP, Episode 5.
Check My Steez is back, baby! If you haven't heard about Check My Steez, they were on a bit of a hiatus, but they're finally back, and they focus on realistic, unbroken lines in STEEP. This new event takes place in Japan. It can be up to 3 minutes long. Again, has to be one unbroken filmed line. That's going to be due February 14th, and you can check out their Discord link down below for all the information.
Well, it must be event season because Stefan Just Steep It has released a brand new one for us called Shred This Spot. It is a set spot on the map where you will begin, and you can shred it from any approach in one unbroken line. Now, you must shred it within the trick boundary. However, this one is not going to be judged. It is purely just for fun. You can head to the House of Shred Discord linked below for more information.
We've talked about this on some previous episodes, but we are going to open a new channel in our Discord for the real life kit review. So you can post all of the gear that you use up on the mountain, your snowboards, your skis, jackets, helmet, whatever you want. We'll have a place for you to post a photo, and then we'll be talking about them in a future episode.
And finally, to wrap up news, our Tartiflette Games Invitational aired this past Saturday. Congratulations to everyone who was involved. It was an absolutely epic premiere. Coming up next in the main topic, we're going to be discussing the ins and outs of the TFG Invitational, so it's going to be some pretty heavy spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen it already, please pause this video and come back to it after you have watched the Invitational. We'll be here when you're ready.
We'll start off with the spoiler-free Tartiflette Games news, and that is we will be opening a TFG post-season survey that should be linked down below right now. So there's going to be a couple questions you can answer about what you liked about the events this season, what you didn't like about the events this season, and what you want to see in the coming season that's going to be starting soon whenever we finally decide on an event and a start date. So if you want to help us out, just fill out the survey. Like I said, we'll ask just kind of open feedback. It's going to be anonymous too, so you don't have to put your name and attach it to any of the ideas. We really want your true, honest feedback about how everything worked. We're always looking to improve the events, the judging, everything we do around this, so can't wait to see what you guys recommend. And we'll also have the last question where you can submit some ideas for events that you'd like to see this season. We don't know how long the season will be because we don't know when Riders Republic comes out yet, and if we're going to continue Season 2 through that or start a new one, have no idea. So I know we mentioned maybe doing slopestyle snowboard and real wingsuit edit, but we're open to other ideas too. There's plenty of events we could tackle, so just put them in that spot and then we'll see kind of what tallies up the most and we'll run them.
Perfectly put, and that's gonna do it for the spoiler-free section of this week's main topic. We're going to give you a quick second here to pause the video if you are looking to avoid spoilers, but here we go. Let's dissect the TFG Invitational. Okay, so first off the bat, Mitch, congratulations on that intro video. I think that was the perfect reception from the community. We didn't know if it was going to be a huge success or a big flop, but you and I were just so pumped up. I mean, I know I watched it straight for like 2-3 weeks since it had been completed. I was just watching it on a loop every single day, and honestly, I don't think it could have gone any better.
Yeah, that was a wild one, and it all started when we made that trailer that everyone saw, the minute 30 trailer that showed off who's in the event and then the events that were going to take place. And after I finished that, I was thinking about what to do with the intro video, and I just took that song back to the beginning and realized there was like a good minute and a half that I could use of that song, and it was very dramatic. It felt like a cool movie intro we could do, almost like a spy movie or an action movie with that deep dark setting. So we went with the nighttime, had the idea of these riders slowly filing in, and then kind of worked on that event with the stars being up in the sky, which was you guys. I found a really cool way to use that in videos.
There was so much editing power behind that intro video. So much went into that. And, looking really, really deep into the meaning of all of that, you guys are the true stars of the Tartiflette Games. You see what we did there? You see what Mitch put together? It was just, on so many levels, the perfect summary of this entire first season. I was absolutely blown away every single time that I gave that a watch through.
And at that point, we also knew we wanted to do a voiceover for it, like you would see in real events where we talk about the season and then have those like reactionary clips when we were actually showing off all of the riders. So Nick and I sat down, recorded that. We had to re-record parts of it. And we always tell you we argue whenever we're making stuff, and then it ends up working that we both want that. Where I wanted no talking in the beginning and then just the talking at the end, the second half. And Nick wanted the talking at the beginning and not at the end. So we made two versions of it where we had each of those possibilities, and we're about to send them out to friends to be impartial judges to say which one they liked better. And we were like, why not both? It would sound really cool with both. So we put that clip in both spots, and then from there we decided to record more audio, and it worked out even better.
Yeah, we've said it multiple times on the podcast, but the way that we work through issues is we each present our opinion and then we slug it out. We absolutely demolish the other person's opinion because we know best. My opinion is the best because, and Mitch sends me back, well, my opinion is the best because, and that results in us saying, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is good. And then late at night, I get a text and Mitch goes, hey, I made 2 versions. Why don't we just combine our ideas? And the stars align once again. We're going to say that over and over because it's true. The Tartiflette Games Invitational, just the stars aligned perfectly. And we were able to combine the best of both worlds and both get exactly what we wanted. But how is that any different than anything we've ever done before?
It's not. And like you said, it's great to work with someone who's just as creative and shares some of the same ideas, but has different ones, because with the intro and with other parts throughout the whole event, I'll put it together roughly, start on some creative ideas, send it to Nick, he'll see stuff and want it changed. But when I change it, it's much better, and then that causes me to have an idea that then kicks it up another notch. So we're just constantly bouncing ideas that continuously take it to the next level. So we've already got something crazy that I worked on last night that I can't wait to show you guys, but it's probably going to be a while.
Yeah, we are already preparing for season 2 to debut. Mitch is throwing around a couple different ideas, and I think we're going to be able to do something ridiculous. It's going to be incredible. We are, I don't want to give away anymore. I think we should move on because I know what everyone is itching to talk about: our winners, the judging, and especially our favorite parts of these events. So we just wanted to take a quick second to give props to the intro one more time. That was the heaviest lifting, I think, that we had to do throughout the entire event. Mitch, I will let you speak your piece because I did not do all of the editing. But, after the intro was over, it was just 3 Tartiflette Games events smashed into one big old event. So it kind of flowed after that, at least from what I've seen.
Yeah, so I worked on the intro separately, got the intro to a passable level where we could put it in the video, and then I go work on all of the events to make sure those are totally squared away, totally perfect. But we've already done so many events this season that the scoreboards I've already made, the transitions, the graphics, all of that's kind of set, so it's pretty easy to just crank out one of those events real quick. So they didn't take too long at all. Even syncing the commentary has gotten better as we've practiced it. And then I went back to the intro and just kept working on it, kept making revisions and trying to take it to that next level. So it's becoming a lot easier to actually put these events together because we've done everything, we've practiced everything, so it's pretty cut and paste now.
Well, just one more time, well done. Pat on the back to you, sir. That was absolutely breathtaking. Now, let's move on to the nitty-gritty. This is heavy spoiler territory. If you've ignored our warnings up until this point, we are going to start talking about the winners and the details behind the event. So this is your final warning.
Yes, this is your final warning right now. If you haven't and you don't want it spoiled, skip ahead to the Riders Roundup chapter in this video. Otherwise, you're going to find out who wins.
All right, so here we go. Buckle in. This is the hard conversation that we get to have after an event. There was some controversy up on the mountain, and that was, of course, our winner, Steep.
Yeah, what can I say? We had discussed this even before we invited him. We discussed this after we invited him. We discussed this after it was judged. We discussed it while it was being judged every single time. We're like, if we invite him and he wins, it's going to look like we did that to make him win. And that's understandable. But after we did the scoring, the judging, we talked as a judging panel. You know, we don't want him to win just because of his name. So we are really critical of the winners. This reminds me of, I believe it was Real Ski, where Just Steep It beat Elmo, and Elmo had that backflip. It was like a 0.2 point difference. It was really small. And we were discussing, like, we want Elmo to win just because Just Steep It just won an event and Elmo had this really cool trick, but we don't want to ever change the results of the judging just because someone's already won or someone's expected to win, or it could look good or look bad if that person wins. We were going off of the numbers and our discussion and what we thought. So with all of that, we really liked Steep's entries as a judging panel.
You know, this was a tough pill to swallow for us behind the scenes. Mitch and I, like you just said, whenever we decided to invite him to the Invitational, which, you know, just to clear up some of that as well, it was not an open event. So you technically did not have to compete to be in the Invitational. It was strictly an invite event. So we threw this out in one of our meetings, and yeah, we wanted one of the best competitors in the game, but we were mortified from the very start of the what if he actually wins. People are going to think that we're selling out. People are going to think that we're just trying to promote somebody else, which was not the case. We were both rooting against Steep as the winner for the entire time, but then his videos came in and our third-party judges came back with their scores, and I really think that the man deserves his gold medal. Not to say that there weren't other fantastic riders up there, but he is one of the best, and the stuff that he gave us was just next level. So, of course, you know, this conversation will go on and on into history. I don't think there's ever going to be a consensus within the community over realizing, yes, he did actually deserve it, or no, I think that's BS. And we embrace that. You know, this was a tough one. It was a tough decision, but ultimately I think it made for a wonderful program, and everyone really brought their A game, especially Steep. There's no way around that fact.
Yeah, everyone seriously did bring it. It gets so hard, and you know, there was different criteria for each event. One difficulty was 50-50 with creativity, so maybe we should get away from that weighting. I think some people did better because of their tricks. You know, we're looking at how difficult is it to actually pull off in the game. So I'm not the best judge at that. I know Space and Ollie are really good, so they know that it's really hard to do a double cork with this number of rotations. So if this guy does a double cork with this number of rotations, that's harder than this to do, and that was intentional or could have been intentional. So it's just really hard to tell with the video game and difficulty. It might be something we change in the future. That's for the survey to decide. You know, at the end of the day, we were weighting by where they finished in each event with those TFG points. So if I changed how many points they got for each event, that might have changed the winner completely. It's all stuff that I look at after. I've already done 2 different ways to calculate the scores, just for you stats nerds. Right now, I average the judges' scores for each rider's entry and then use that. But I've also tried ranking each judge. So if they had Steep at number 1, he just gets 10 points. 10th place gets 1 point, averaging those numbers out, doing some other stuff. And, you know, most of it comes out the same, but always working to, you know, improve the math behind everything to get that closer formula to what the fans decide. And speaking of the fans, I still have the fan survey open, but we received 22 fan votes, so we can discuss that and see how that compares to our leaderboard.
So just as a recap, our top 3 podium positions for the Invitational were Steep Steep in first place, Just Steep It in second, and Pollo Loco in third. Now let's take a look at the fan votes, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of discussion around these.
In the fan vote, I asked you to pick your winner for each of the 3 events, Big Air, Real Steep, and Knuckle Huck. Right now, the Big Air winner was Just Steep It, the Real Steep winner was Just Steep It, and the Knuckle Huck winner was Pollo Loco, which the only difference compared to our event is, Steep Steep not winning the Big Air. But when you combine all of those to see who won the overall event in your opinion, Just Steep It was first, Pollo Loco was second, and Steep Steep was third, which was our leaderboard, just a little bit mixed up.
Oh, super interesting. I love how that plays out. Even though it's not an exact replica of our podium and the judges' scores, it still shows that those were clearly our 3 top riders for the event.
And I love seeing the fan votes in our events, especially the real events, because that's what they do in real life. But the one thing to always consider when having a fan vote is people putting in votes for the same person for all events, or putting the same vote multiple times and rigging it or weighing it in someone's favor. I know people thought that might happen with Steep Steep in this case, but so far right now, only one person who voted put Steep Steep as the winner for all 3 events. Weirder was, within a span of 30 minutes, 3 entries came in with Just Steep It winning each event. Now, he did good in every event, but you can see where it gets hard to actually do that. If we took away those 3 votes, it would have been Just Steep It with 12 total first places, Pollo Loco with 12 total first places, and Steep Steep with 10. So it's even closer.
Yeah, that's absolutely wild. And, you're always going to get those huge fans that are just supporting their favorite rider out there. But, ultimately, that's why we don't just leave this all up to a fan vote. You're always going to have those people that go in and spam just to support one of their best friends or whatever you have. Whatever the circumstance is, it's not an accurate representation of the riders, of the tricks, of the entire competition. So yeah, you still need that judging backbone if you're going to put on an event like we do. But it's always fun to see how the fans are reacting. And again, very happy that we did end up with our podium taking first place in this fan vote, even though it was a little bit jumbled up at the end. It still showed that ultimately these 3 riders took the entire day.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we've seen it in a couple events. I remember Slopestyle, there was a couple, and Knuckle Huck too, actually. There were quite a few riders that people believed should have been in the top 10 or should have made the finals. But then whenever we ask who the top 3 were, those come out the same. So it kind of seems that a lot of these stars, like the ones who absolutely should have won, do end up near the top of the podium. It's kind of that 4 through 10 and even maybe 4 through 15, 4 through 20 that kind of gets mixed up. And it's just because you guys all do crazy stuff, different stuff. So it's kind of hard to compare, one thing to another. So I just love showing everyone's clips. I mean, that's why we have all the qualifiers beforehand to show all the entries, because you guys get to see everything and decide what you like best.
Now, I know we're already running super long on this main topic. This is not Après STEEP length main topic material here, but we have to give it the proper amount of time, the proper attention. So let's move on to our final topic for this segment. And I want to know, what was your favorite moment of the day?
I think based on looks and just kind of what wowed me, I'm going with It's the Mort's snowboard big air trick, because he threw a ton of spins but then comes super close to the edge of that house rooftop and then lands on those rocks, which is a really tricky spot, and he just squeaks out that landing. So it was just so visually appealing, and definitely when I watched it the first time I was like, oh wow, that is a big air.
Yeah, that trick was just textbook. He landed it perfectly on that side hill. It was an absolute stomp. The rotation was so clean. I mean, there's nothing else to say. You guys are watching it through right now. This trick is just a masterpiece. Now, for me, my favorite trick of the day has to come from Envy with his ski knuckle huck entry when he slapped or, fist bumped that rocket wingsuiter. Now, there were some folks that were commenting during the live chat that they don't really like the idea that you can bring in other people to help you with your trick, but TFG, man, it's a video game, it's fantasy, there are no rules, and Envy took that to the max. And I just want to point out, even though he used a second person, you can consider that a prop. The precision and the timing and the dedication it takes to make a trick like that happen. I mean, he must have tried that trick 25 times before he got a clip that looked usable for this event. Mitch and I have tried back and forth to get something like this. You know, I'm coming in on a rocket wingsuit trying to go underneath Mitch, not even smack hands with him, just fly underneath him the minute he launches off of a big air kicker or a knuckle. And more times than not, we just stop trying to get the clip because it never works how we want it to. So the dedication behind that trick from Envy, I mean, I know firsthand how difficult it is to time things like that in the game, and he pulled it off perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, that trick's incredible. We did try that at the Knuckle Huck, and we finally got a clip, but then our cameras were off sync, so really hard to do, really cool. And we could go on forever about every trick, every single entry in this event, discuss and then argue why it could have been a first place clip.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll do that on stream sometime, because that would take like 8 hours. You know, our commentary is trying to read off the trick, what position they finish in, our initial reaction, but we could go and break down every one of these and it would take forever, but it was just a joy to watch.
Hey, that would be a fun Twitch series to do, you know, go through Big Air and have one day of like a 3-4 hour live stream where we're just dissecting each and every single run. We're not worried about shoutcasting and putting on the face and making it sound good. We're just dissecting it and watching it as fans. You know, and then we can do one for Real Steep and eventually Knuckle Huck. I think that's a good series to entertain. Just came up with an idea right here, live on Après STEEP. Sorry about that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know what? I think we're gonna steal that idea at some point. We can discuss, and then you guys can argue too about the tricks in the chat. It'll be fun. It means I can't move like the 200 gigabytes of stuff I have on just the TFG hard drive right now. I was gonna move that to a backup, but maybe I'll keep it around for a little bit.
Yeah, don't delete it just yet. I think while the event is so fresh in everyone's minds, we should jump on Twitch and get this train rolling sooner rather than later, for sure. Well, clearly we could talk about this for hours and hours on end, and we will do some live stream content where we discuss this for hours and hours on end. But Après STEEP is not the place to carry on. I say we head on over to the Riders Roundup.
Since we just spent so much time on the main topic, and that's probably the only time I've talked in an episode longer than Nick up to this point, we're gonna fly through the Riders Roundup. So if you want to check out all of the cool content that was submitted this week, head to our Discord channel, the self-promo channel. That's where everyone's been posting this stuff. This week we had some really cool pictures from Steepest Legend and Sofex. There were 3 different edits from Pancaked, Yanni Vulgaris, and Strenio, but Strenio's is a trailer for an upcoming edit he's doing. And then there was a funny video from Unpen. We'll watch this one real quick.
Compared with the leader's 128.5. Oh, that was smooth. What about the power there and the aggression? Oh, this is unbelievable. Oh, and he stood up. Unbelievable jump. That is out of the stadium.
And in this video, he just did the ski jump hill that you can find in Steep, but overlaid some real life commentary of a world record. So love seeing creativity like this.
Oh, that was absolutely hilarious. We also want to feature this week's weekly challenge. As always, you can find that full video on the page. This week's topic was Kiss the Ground. Mitch, who are you taking as your favorite?
Well, I'm judging purely on taking the title of this literally, Kiss the Ground, putting your lips on the snow. So Steepest Legend came very close. Sofex turning his head to the left to try and squeak that kiss in. And finally, Flair upside down with his head right in the snow. Also, Strenny going with the faceplant right into it on the wingsuit.
I love that, taking it hyper literally and just picking the people who actually touch their lips to the ground. I'm going to take a different approach and pick Ollie right here with those Somexi Armada skis, just kicking up a tiny bit of powder as he drags maybe his knee, the tip of the ski, or his butt along that lip. Just wonderful. I love seeing that little powder, that action shot. Yeah, that's all I got. Wonderful job, Ollie, and all of the other guys that Mitch created a podium for.
The next weekly challenge is X Game themed. You can find info on that in our Discord. Links to all of the videos that we just talked about and pictures, you can find those down below too. And all of our links to our random social channels, they're all down there. Even a link tree, because Nick made up more links for us.
Hey, you can never have too many links. I have no regrets. Speaking of X Games, the X Games are coming up this weekend, and I am sure our Discord channel is going to be pumping with clips and discussion over the in real life events. The Tartiflette Games was just a teaser leading up to the real life Aspen 2021 events. So if you're not already on Discord, please come and join us over there. The conversation is going to be lit this weekend. I cannot believe I just used lit. I really think it's time that we call this one quits. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 5 of Après STEEP. Follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, tell a friend, bring them on over to the Discord. We'll see you guys next week with more. As always, I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see you on the slopes.